Cards to Yards, brought to you by the Adventure Stadium and the Adventure Begins, located on 1488, right next to a big old movie theater. I'm Chaz Graves, and here with me today, Preston Laird and Mark Blair.
Thank you, Chaz, for the introduction. As always, along with Preston, I'm Mark. This is Cards to Yards, a sports card and sports podcast brought to you from the Adventure Stadium above Adventure Begins Comics and Games. Preston, I know you're impatiently waiting to get to Stanley Cup and the wrap-up of NBA Finals, but we actually have some breaking news.
Yeah.
One thing that happened this week, before we get to that, Topps and Fanatics have made a deal to make fully licensed college cards of current players. It's going to have like actual logos, jerseys, all the NIL stuff.
That's incredible.
Name and likeness. So they're going to be able to do stuff like, let's say, for example, that Cooper Manning's son, who happens to have two kind of famous uncles and a famous grandfather, Arch Manning, let's say, just for example, on a day like today, about an hour ago, decides, I'm going to play football at the University of Texas out of nowhere. They can make a Topps Now card for that.
They sure can.
And I'm wondering, are they going to do that?
Maybe.
It's,
They want to make money, they will.
I would recommend picking that up. The first ever card of Arch Manning as a University of Texas Longhorn, and they'll actually be able to put the little picture of the cow on there.
Heck yeah.
With the horns.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Other than the fact it's a Longhorn, but...
Yeah, but also, can you believe that? Texas was not on my radar for him going to.
No, that's a complete surprise. Super excited for Texas, even though I'm not really a Texas fan.
Right.
But excited for the state of Texas to have him. Heck yeah.
Peyton Manning probably thinks he went to the wrong UT, right? I would think.
Right.
But also...
The balls.
But also, I would say that there's a lot of places you can't go as Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Tennessee is one, and Ole Miss is another one. So maybe he just decided, well, this is... And I would think it would be a no-brainer that he's going to start from snap one.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
He's going to build his own legacy. It's going to be incredible.
So that's the big breaking news. But, yeah, now if something happens like that, you can go to Topps.com and get a card made instantly. Yep. I don't know what the first card they will make will be, but, that would be a great way to launch it. That would be a great way to launch it. Bless you.
Excuse me.
That would be.
I'm allergic to the Longhorns. Sorry.
Right? I usually am too, but I do love the Mannings.
Yes, I do.
They make good commercials.
Heck
if nothing else. But just to wrap up that Topps deal, it's also intriguing because they included within the 200 athletes, it's male and female.
Yeah, I saw that. It's
we're going to get
exciting.
some college cards.
Heck yeah.
And not only that, but of the top females in the NCAA as well. But I just love that because I'm not a huge fan of the non-licensed cards.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more cards out there because as this NIL thing advances where you can sign the players. It's sort of like in baseball, Panini signs the players, but they don't have the rights to the logos.
Right.
So you have to airbrush everything out. But that'll be interesting.
Heck yeah.
I also wanted to give you a little bit of update. I think, if I'm correct, you had predicted about $500,000 for that LeBron 101 Panini Flawless.
Did I really? I went that low?
Yeah, but
no way I went that low.
But hey, if it makes you feel better, I only doubled what you said. I said $1 million.
Yeah.
With 3 days left, it's 1.8 million. Now remember, this is non-signature, but it is 3 Jumpman logos from each of his 3 teams.
Yeah.
Something else that's going on. There's a Panini Exquisite rookie patch that is autoed on card, and that is 1.75 million, and then a PSA 10 Bird Magic 1980-81 Topps, of course, with Dr. J in the middle, but it's the former Atu's rookie card that is currently at $350,000. So Golden is having a great week.
Heck yeah, they are.
As well. And just before we jump into everything else, do you have your plans all lined out for Bobby Bonilla Day? That comes up July 1st. So
it's time to pay Bobby again, huh?
Yeah. So if you're not familiar, every July 1st from now until 2035, I believe the Mets pay out something like $1.38 million to do with the buyout from way back in the
Yep.
days. So probably about the worst contract they've ever written.
The greatest contract that any player has ever signed.
Yeah,
So,
depending on which side you are.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're writing the check, worst contract in history. If you're getting the check, best contract.
How many
in
years have
history.
they been paying him now? I mean, he retired in what, like 90?
I think, yeah. Well, I mean, I
92?
think the mid to late 90s.
Yeah. I mean, so they've been paying him for 25 years?
Yeah, and it goes till 2035. So if you don't have any plans this year, just you got a while. You got over a decade to celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and I know you want to get to the hockey, but we'll just go ahead. NBA Finals are over.
Yep.
Warriors wrapped it up. They did it to rub salt in the wound of the Celtics fans at Boston.
Yeah.
And not only that, but Steph Curry, who played lights out the whole series, averaging 31 points, he got the first ever Bill Russell NBA Finals MVP trophy.
Yeah.
That was the one thing that his critics, I don't know why like the best of the best have critics, but
Just because he hasn't
Yeah.
had MVP in any of the finals they've won.
Sure.
Wow, big deal.
But now he fills that void in his trophy case. So
Yep.
now he's
officially good.
He's officially good. He's vaulted up into the top 15. I don't want anyone getting carried away and putting him over Olajuwon or anything,
Yeah.
but that list is so subjective.
Yeah. I'd say he's pretty close to Olajuwon, absolutely, but not as far as the position played. I don't think he's in the top two of his position in the history of the game, whereas Olajuwon's in the top two, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and Game 6 wasn't all that exciting. You realize
No.
at some point the Warriors, they didn't necessarily run away with it, but they had it locked up. You saw them get confident. The confidence of a team that's been there and won before.
They had one spurt,
Yes.
in that third quarter where it seemed like they were going to make it interesting, and then it was short-lived.
But they won 103-90, and now, of course, everyone can doubt that the Warriors will ever win one again. Way too early. Speaking of way too early, though, now we're going to talk about all these teams that are putting their futures on the line in tonight's NBA draft as we record this.
Heck yeah.
I'm really excited. The Rockets, we traded Christian Wood, who was a great player, seemingly hurt all the time, but in return, we got one of the greatest commercial actors of our time, Boban. So, and also, if you've seen the Adam Sandler movie on Netflix, Hustle,
Yeah,
he's hilarious in that.
that's
too.
what I heard. I haven't seen it.
He's saying he's like 23 years old or whatever.
I've had a couple of people tell me I need to see that.
But we traded Christian Wood for ending up being for 4 players, really just for salary write-offs,
Yeah.
and a number 1 pick, first-round draft pick. So now we have 3 first-round draft picks to go with the 4 we had last year.
Heck yeah.
I'm hoping they packaged the last 2.
To move up.
Yeah, I've been watching like mock drafts the last week, and it's crazy how close 1, 2, and 3 are right now. The top pick, belongs to Orlando Magic unless they make some kind of crazy deal. They're leaning towards Jabari Smith, power forward out of Auburn, and then Oklahoma City is leaning towards Chet Holmgren, who's a very intriguing prospect because he's only like 195 pounds, but he's 7 foot tall. If you saw any Gonzaga games, he really stood out. Great player. And then the Rockets, they would have the luxury of Paulo Banchero falling to them. Small forward from Duke that can stretch the floor, extremely athletic, needs to work on his three-point skills. And then the top 5 is rounded out by Jaden Ivey and Keegan Murray. So anything could happen. It's a interesting and exciting draft.
Yep.
One thing is for sure, Rockets are going to try to pair another future superstar with Jalen Green and go from there. There's also rumors of Eric Gordon being traded, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
But at some point,
He's towards the end of his career.
he's towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
So,
Great role player.
and then speaking of must-watch television, Astros at New York for 4
Heck yeah.
against the Yankees. 2 of the best teams in baseball. The Astros only trail the Dodgers, to have the second best record. Yankees have already passed 50 wins. You have Aaron Judge, who already has 27 homers, versus Yordan Alvarez, who added a couple yesterday. Now he's up to 21. The Yankees still hate the Astros, hate Altuve. It's going to be crazy. If the Astros can just split the series, I'd be so happy.
Yeah, I agree. A split would be a win. After they just swept the Mets, that would be a nice little road trip to New York. I'd take 4-2 any day.
Yeah, and the Mets, it was only a 2-game series, but it's the only time they've been swept this season. So I think it gives them a lot of confidence. And if you're looking at the schedule, it's great to pick up 2 wins this early into that, because now you're going on the road for a little bit. And for the Yankees is going to be tough. But and Verlander pitches Saturday, so that's probably the game I'm looking most forward to. And again, we're going to face Garrett Cole. So that's in the second game of the series, I believe. All right.
Okay.
So before the ice melts, we'll get to Stanley Cup. So first game, overtime, thriller. Second game, Avs win 7-0. It looks like, okay, they might just sweep this whole thing.
Yep.
Goes back to Tampa. Lightning dropped 6 goals of their own.
Just dominated.
So games 2 and 3 are just like blowouts. I don't know if there's some people out there that are just now watching hockey. 7 goals and 6 goals by one team, Stanley Cup Finals, not normal, just so you know. And then game 4, so another overtime, and Avs get the big win.
Yeah.
At least John Cooper, the coach for the Lightning, thinks it was a controversial goal. What are your thoughts building up to it and the goal itself?
Well, number one, I kind of disagree with the fact that the Avs stole Game 4. I think the Avs were the better team. They were the better conditioned team. They were by far the most aggressive team, at least from the third period through overtime. They dominated time in the offensive zone. They dominated in shots after the first period. It was astonishing that the Avs were outshot. I think it was 20-4 in the first period, which is the polar opposite of what they've been the entire playoffs. So frustrating thereafter, the amount of scoring chances that they had at the end of that third period to end that game. I mean, it was mind-boggling how many times the puck was just floating in front of the net, and miraculously it never went in. So, I don't think they stole the game. I think that they made some adjustments after the first period, and after the first period, they were the better team, offensively and defensively. So.
Well, the Lightning coach would beg to differ.
Okay, so back to the Lightning coach and the controversy of the extra man on ice. It should have been too many men on the ice. It's hard to disagree with facts and video evidence that's, pretty much shows that he was about 45 feet from the bench. But I don't know. It's probably the most subjective call in all of sports. Is too many men on the ice in hockey, because it's kind of like traveling in the NBA. It goes on all the time. They rarely call it. I think it has to be something extremely egregious. Since he was headed to the bench, I guess they just said, well, he's heading to the bench. We're not going to call it.
Yeah,
and you know what? One other point I need to make before I forget. Towards the end of that third period, we had a scoring chance. The puck came open in the offensive zone of Tampa Bay. It was a clear trip. I mean, obvious trip. I'm screaming at the TV. How can you not call that? There was about 2 minutes left in the game, maybe 3 minutes. We should have been on a power play. Obvious, out in the open, right in front of the goal. He would have had a tremendous scoring chance, and that was robbed from him because he hooked his skate with a stick, and it was a no call. I mean, it doesn't get much more obvious than that. So, I mean, there were a few no calls in the game. They got to look at themselves in the mirror at the end of the day and realize they just got beat by a better team and stop making excuses as to why you lost the game.
I mean, it's just like in baseball when an ump misses a call and a batter's frozen, and then you see like 2 days later, oh, that was not a strike. Well, until robots take over sports, and until there's like some sort of sensor on the ice that lights up the rink to show that he was a little early. Like he saw what he thought McKinnon was headed towards the bench, and then everyone was like, "Whoa!" But look, that aside, Nazem Kadri, the way he zoomed out of there, and oh my goodness, that goal! He hit it so hard, no one knew where the puck was. Did you see that on the replay? Because it got wedged in the top back of the goal. And I
was watching it live. It was incredible.
It was amazing, and I was telling you before we started recording, like, what is up with these NHL players? Like, out with knee surgery and then back 2 weeks later scoring goals. Landeskog did the same thing. He was out a little bit longer. And granted, science in 2022 is fantastic, right? But it's like, wow, hockey players, we know they're tough, but there must be something about skates and the ice and knee injuries that makes it more conducive to come back.
I guess so.
And
I guess so, man.
All right, so
But super stoked for game 5 in Colorado on Friday. Go Avs, man! I'm excited.
you're going to see all this footage of these fancy men wearing white gloves.
Oh yeah,
Like they're doing the box break of like Panini Obsidian or something, but they're going to be, because they said the cup will be present.
It will be present.
That's going to be wild. All right, we're done with the sports part. Let's get to the sports card part of Cards to Yards. What's coming out?
So we've got new this week is Contenders Optic Football. Super hot product. Seen monster hits coming out of that stuff. So come in and get your boxes of that. We've got plenty. Next week, we're going to have some hockey. Quite a bit of hockey coming out next week, highlighted by SP Authentic Upper Deck, which is one of my favorite products.
That was delayed all the way from last year.
Yes, there's so many delayed soccer products that are coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's almost overwhelming how many are actually being released. So, but we got Select Baseball coming out next week, which is always popular. A little bit higher end baseball product, even though it's not licensed. It's still very cool. Love it. We've got Chronicles Draft Picks Football coming out next week, so it's going to be your first glimpse of your brand new recruits in the NFL from the recent draft. Super cool product with about 7 or 8 different types of brands that are going to be inserted. Chronicles Soccer is coming out. Really cool product. Topps Chrome Platinum Edition 70th Anniversary Baseball. That's going to be a really cool product, and that's coming out in hobby and light versions, so there's a couple of different versions of that. So super exciting. Lots of stuff coming out the next week or two. We're accepting HGA submissions again, so come and bring your cards in for HGA. Currently, 45-day business service is the only option available, which is about a 2 months, give or take a week or two time frame. And yeah, that's what's going on. And we'd love to see you come in the shop, say hey, and talk to me and Lou or whoever else is up here. We look forward to seeing you.
It seems like no matter what comes out for football, it's just flying.
Yeah.
Like football is so hot. It's hockey. There's a lot of interesting rookies and prospects, and like that SP Authentic, that's from last year. So people are gonna be hunting that Kaprizov.
Yep.
Future Watch. It's gonna be a super hot card. So
Heck yeah.
and then as we've said for the last few months now, all these soccer products just gonna be heating up until we get to the World Cup.
No doubt.
Later this year.
Oh, speaking of World Cup,
Yeah.
Congratulations to Houston.
Yes.
Hosting some World Cup matches. Kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. And 2026, man, it's going to put us on the map as far as soccer goes. It's going to be a lot of fun.
One of many spots in the United States to snag some games. Of course, don't know who's going to be there yet, but can't wait.
I got to see a game. I don't care who it is. I've got to see a World Cup game.
It's going to be such a hot ticket. It's going to be insane.
doubt.
Well, thanks, Preston, for that rundown. So many cards. I can't wait to bust open coming up. And then good luck to your Avs.
Thank you.
By the time you and I talk next time, we'll know who's spending days with the Cup.
Heck yeah, man.
Maybe we'll figure out how they're going to spend their day with the Cup, because that's one thing that's super unique to hockey.
Yeah.
You get 24 hours and eat cereal out of it or whatever. So one thing that we like to do, we like to wrap up the show with a glossary term that I might have thrown out there for collectors old and new who may not have known what I was talking about. That is Topps Now. Now, we've already discussed on-demand cards. Panini Instant, Topps Now. You go online, you order the cards. Topps Now is basically, you could go on there now and find stuff that happened in MLB yesterday. Order a card, in 24 hours it's closed. That print run is dependent on how many people ordered that card. So that's what Topps Now is. And we'll see if there's an Arch Manning holding up a UT hat or something.
And on that subject, we do have a lot of Topps Now cards in the shop for sale. And like you said, everything is limited production on that. It's only according to how many people order the product. So a lot of it's actually very, very limited production compared to normal retail and hobby product. For instance, I've got like a Christian Pulisic living set, which is an artist's rendition of the player, and I think they only made 3,000 of them. And then I've got another set, Duran Duran Throwback Thursday, with Shohei Ohtani, Bo Bichette, and Mariano Rivera in a set, and they only made 1,019 of the entire set. So there's some really good value in these cards. They're beautiful, they're unique, and they're way more limited than what you find out there in hobby and retail. So.
Sounds good. So come in and to Adventure Stadium, check it out.
Heck yeah.
All right. Thanks, Preston, as always. I'm Mark for Cards to Yards. Back to you.
Go
Chaz.
Avalanche!
Well, gang, that's all for today's episode. So join us next week. Cars to Yards, brought to you by the Adventure Stadium, and the adventure begins. Again, we're located off 1488 and Woodland Square Boulevard. See you next time.